It seems like nowadays AI is all the rage, and it's kind of scary how good AI is getting and how well it knows us, the human element. But we're going to answer the question that we've been asking ourselves here at Airsoft GI for a pretty long time. Can AI actually create a realistic, good Airsoft loadout for players to use in 2025? What's going on, Mail Gang? Boaz here, and today we're going to try to find the answer to this question. Can AI actually make us an Airsoft loadout that is decent and usable in 2025? But here are some rules that we're going to give ourselves to make this experiment as authentic as possible. So, full disclaimer, we're going to be using Google Gemini AI for this experiment. You can try this experiment at home yourself if you want to with any other open-ended AI services available, but we're using Google Gemini AI. Now, when we give AI the prompt, we're going to be as vague as possible, but it needs to follow a couple rules. Number one, we're going to give it a budget of $1,000, so it has decent room to recommend us all sorts of gear. Number two, everything needs to be sourced from airsoftgi.com, so that way I can easily source the loadout components together to see if this thing will actually work. And number three, it needs to have a full metal AEG and a gas blowout pistol to be part of the loadout. Now, keep in mind, with AI, you can make AI pretty much say anything you want it to. You could even say, hey, make me a loadout with this very specific Tokyo Marui MWS gas blowback rifle and this specific type of magazine and this specific plate carrier, and it'll happily do exactly as you ask.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
What's the problem?
I think you know what the problem is just as well as I do.
But we wanted to see if AI really knows the Airsoft player in 2025 and to see if it can actually make a functional loadout. So the first thing that Google AI spat out were different recommendations for that full metal AEG. Now, one thing that I really liked about Google AI is that it's giving us different options instead of just giving you one thing that it recommends you. So the first option that it decides to give us is the Classic Army Mark 16 9.5 inch ECS AEG, which it is a full metal M4, so it does meet the criteria. And it's a very solid performer out of the box. It's actually one of my personal sleeper favorite AEGs that you don't see very often on the airsoft field. It does have a programmable ECS electronic trigger system. It has a nice perky, strong 25K motor in it, and it shoots really well out of the box, aside from that being that nice modern URGI aesthetic style AEG. But the second option it gave us is the Zyarms R15 Mark II, which I thought was very interesting because it is a newer AEG that hit the market, I believe either end of last year or beginning of this year. And it has the Nebula 2 ETU, which makes the R15 perform like an absolute beast. And the third option, which I thought was kind of funny, is that it recommended an LCT AEG, in parentheses, AK platform. So it didn't give us a specific model like it did for the past two options. It just says, hey, just get anything LCT around the $400 to $500 budget range. And I think it's kind of cool because maybe Google AI knows it recommended two M4s, so it decided to give us an AK as a third option if you didn't want to go with an M4. But it does meet the criteria. It's full metal. It's a very rugged, well-performing, very well-respected AK platform on the market today. One detail that I really appreciated about the list of AEGs that I recommended is that it will also give you a list of pros and cons for each option, which I guess that would mean that it read the entirety of all Airsoft forums and YouTube videos about each Airsoft platform, and it distilled it all down into a couple sentences. It's kind of scary if you ask me. But moving on, next is going to be the Airsoft pistols that it will recommend as per the loadout. So the first option it decides to give us is the Leap Force Glock 19 Gen 3 gas blowout pistol. Wow, yeah, so it's giving us an Airsoft Glock, which personally, in my opinion, I think it's a very solid choice to go with in 2025. The second option, not so much. It's recommending the WeTech 1911 MEU gas blowout pistol. WeTech. I mean, for some people, I guess, if you want to go with the WeTech 1911, I would recommend something like an Army Armament 1911 in today's day and age, but it is what it is. And finally, the ASG CZ P09. What an odd choice. I mean, I do see the P09 around every now and then on the airsoft field, but what an odd choice. I'm surprised that we didn't see any high kappas on this list, despite how extremely prevalent and popular they are on the internet. So, what do you know? And of course, it does give you a list of pros and cons for each option here, which again is absolutely terrifying. So after AI recommended very specific options for your primary AG and gas-welded pistol, it becomes a little bit more vague when it comes to everything else around the loadout. For example, with the essential gear that you would need in order to play airsoft at a field, it becomes a little bit more vague. It will just tell you what you would need and then attach a approximated price tag to it. It didn't necessarily give us specific items that we would get at airsoftgi.com. So it will rattle off things like eye protection, which they estimated that it would be around $40-ish, and then lower face protection, which is they recommended that anywhere between $15 to $30. BBs, high quality BBs for about $30 for 2 bags of BBs. And then things like green gas for the pistol, which they estimate would be $10 to $15. A battery for the airsoft gun, that's around $20 to $35. And then a smart charger for your battery, which will run anywhere between $25 to $40. And then an extra magazine, which they said that it will cost anywhere between $10 to $20. So AI went ahead and generated an actual airsoft loadout for us to use, but I'm not going to just read it off to you. I'm going to go and actually put this loadout together and see if it's actually usable in real life. All right, we have our golden boy Isaias here. Gonna take a look at this loadout and tell us what he thinks. Just first glance, what do you think?
I don't even know what I'm looking at.
Okay, all right. Well, he's gonna take apart this loadout one piece at a time. Everything you see here is part of the loadout. Hey, how's that food poisoning treating you?
Don't remind me, please. I'm already suffering enough. It's coming out of both ends, if you know what I mean. I'll leave it at that.
Okay, great. But why don't we start off with the gun itself over here? What do you think about this?
I can tell from the first glance, it definitely is the classic Army MK16. And honestly, that's a good pick for pretty much any type of loadout. I've always been a huge fan of the MK16 sort of style, the aesthetic it's got going on here.
All right, and then also the sling is part of the loadout too.
Yeah, the sling I think is going to be one of the more, I would think, creature comfort. Very slept on piece of kit though, honestly. I feel like a lot of people when they're starting off, getting into airsoft, they're so focused on what gun they're going to be using, what sort of face protection. Don't get me wrong, those are all very important, but I think the sling is just one of those quality of life items that just really, really makes a much better experience for pretty much anybody. And I do appreciate the fact that they went with the 2-point sling. I much prefer the 2-point sling over the single point. No, nothing wrong with the single point, just a more of a stylistic or a preferential type deal, so I approve of the sling as well. I want to give special highlight to the chest rig chosen for this kit specifically. I believe this is the Lance Tactical H chest rig. These minimalist style chest rigs are very much in vogue right now for a very popular reason. They're incredibly modular, even being able to be compatible with certain types of plate carriers using their swift clip system, some type of buckles, or even G-hooks as well. And I like the fact that you actually get a good amount of space for a decent amount of magazines on here. We're looking at like 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe like 5 M4 magazines with like 4 pistol pouches. Like, it's solid. You know, I have no issues with this. This is very good for whether you're going indoor or outdoor. And if I had to pick another piece of kit on here that I think was really, really well thought out, was also the classic. You know, you got the mesh mask on here. This is a design that, again, has been around for so long and will continue to be here for well, many years after. Again, this is not going to be just your normal mesh mask where it's only covering the front part of your nose and your mouth, but will also have the hard ear protection as well. All right, moving on to the eye protection, it's going to be the Aero goggles. Now, the Aero goggles have been around for some time, and I've never had any major issues with mine because I actually do own a pair as well. Even though it is going to be a little bit on the chunkier side, it's not the biggest one out there, and it's still very comfortable. So kudos to whoever put this kit together as well for your choice of eye protection. I mean, of course, you have an airsoft gun, right? I mean, you're going to need a battery and a charger as well. I mean, the fact that this one doesn't come included with a battery charger, I mean, it's kind of standard, right? There's a lot of guns that just won't come included with it once you get above that $200 price point. So the fact that you get a nice smart charger and you get an 11-1 lithium-ion battery, I mean, that's solid. Again, that's what you would expect to run with something like this. Green gas seems a little interesting. I do like using the 12 kg Lance Tactical green gas as well for pretty much all my gas levels, but I'm not. Oh, there it is. That's why. I didn't even notice it as well. Inside holstered is going to be the Elite Force Glock 19, officially licensed, mind you. So this bad boy is going to be 1-to-1 with the real deal. The Glock 19s that VFC or Elite Force have come out with have actually been a very, very solid sidearm pick for years. I believe in 2017 when they first came to the US market. Now, I do like the holster that they chose here. It's going to be the SideTac holster. We'll carry a ton of different SideTac and Ammo Max style holsters and holster accessories. So they actually share an ecosystem of Akbar components, so you can dress them up however you want. You can put them wherever you want, whether you want to run them on a belt, just on this little paddle, or if you want to run them via molly, you have options. There's things that you can do with this holster. So not a bad pick at all. This is actually quite a very versatile pick on here. Now, in terms of ammunition, BBs, right? I mean, what are we going to shoot? Harsh language? Going with something like these big old buckets that we're now carrying at Airsoft GI, these giant Lancer Tactical. I think it's like, what, the 10,000 count? Yeah, the 10,000 count of BBs, .25. I'm assuming then that this person, whoever put this kit together, is going to be mostly sticking to outdoors, but you could very well use this indoors as well. This big bucket is super convenient. It's super well priced right now on Airsoft GI, so you can really stock up on pretty much all the ammo you'll ever need year round, right? So the gun will come included with your standard high cap magazine. You know the deal. Open the top hatch, pour your BBs in, and you got the winding wheel underneath. It gets the job done, but let's be real here. It's 2025. We need the mid caps, right? Thankfully, we'll carry a ton of mid caps, and the one chosen for this as an extra is going to be the Arcturus. These feed pretty much in everything. I haven't encountered an AR AEG that doesn't take these magazines. They've all worked very, very well with this.
So the reason why I had you react to this is because a very special someone did put this loadout together.
Oh, all right. How is this person?
What if I told you that AI put this loadout together?
What? Excuse me? Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Pause. Rewind. AI.
This is an AI-generated loadout for Airsoft.
Okay, this is nuts, man. This is not good. Dude, this is not okay, dude.
As you can see from Isaias' reactions, yeah, it's kind of scary how well AI can just put together a fully functioning Airsoft loadout that does pretty well from a player's perspective on a very simple prompt. But AI has also given us some extra room in the budget for us to play around with whatever specifically you want as an Airsoft player, because they've pretty much got all the essentials already picked out for us, down to even things like a battery and a charger. Now, if I were to use this loadout that AI gave me, the first thing that I would do is pick up extra magazines. Yes, so AI did say recommend around a $15 mid-cap magazine. Interestingly enough, they actually didn't put a very specific brand, so I went ahead and I decided to use the Arcturus because it costed roughly around that $15 price point. And, you know, it is Arcturus, so it's going to be well made. But if I were to pick up magazines in bulk, I'll probably get the Zion Arms high-speed magazines over here that they do come in a pack of 5, and I believe it's like close to $55 to $60. You get 5 of these magazines. They hold about 140 rounds, and they're great, and they work really well with the Classic Army. So I'll have 5 magazines to fill up this chest rig, because the chest rig here, it does leave a lot of room to expand and really put a lot of your things in there when you're out there playing. The next best thing I think is going to be an optic. You need, I would recommend in today's day and age, you absolutely need some kind of optic on the Airsoft field. Everyone's running red dot sight or some kind of scope. It's just so much faster to get on target, and you're really going to be at a disadvantage if you are just running iron sights on the Airsoft field. It's just the way things are. A good red dot sight will probably run you anywhere between $50 to $70. I would recommend somewhere around that price point. I would not spend anything beneath $40 just because the quality is just really isn't there, and you kind of get what you pay for. But the last item that I will probably add is something like a speed loader. So you can either get something like a $7 cheapo speed loader that'll do the job, or you can get something a little bit nicer like an Odin speed loader that, you know, it can hold a lot more BBs. It is going to be more expensive, but you can load your magazines a lot faster on the field. So those would kind of be my suggestions here for this loadout. Now, I do kind of have to be honest here because AI was pretty scary good at putting together an airsoft loadout from scratch, but AI is not perfect. It did make some mistakes. As from the prompts that I gave AI to make an airsoft loadout, I told it specifically to source items from airsoftgi.com, and it turned out that when it did make me an example loadout, they were recommending products that were not actively being carried at airsoftgi.com, or sometimes it would do this weird thing where it would recommend a more expensive item when another item that is a lot cheaper that does the same job is available. So I did have to manually change some things. First up being the eye protection. So initially they recommended going with the Valken airsoft goggles, which Valken is not a brand that is actively being carried at airsoftgi.com. So I decided to substitute it with the Lancer Tactical Aero goggles, which is very much a player favorite nowadays. You see these goggles everywhere and they do the job very well. I've also had to change the brand of the lower face mask because they initially recommended a One Tigris mask, which is a One Tigris is kind of like the Amazon special brand. Primarily they're being sold on Amazon, not at airsoftgi.com. So I had to switch out for this mesh mask, which I believe is a little bit cheaper too, and it offers ear protection, which is nice. Next up, which I thought was interesting, is going to be the battery charger. Now, this is an instance where AI recommended a more expensive Lancer Tactical LiPo charger. Now, this is a new product. This is the B3 Pro charger, which will charge your LiPo batteries for only 20 bucks. So this is a lot cheaper than a lot of the other charger options out there. So I decided just to throw that in because it's cheaper. But they also did something like this with the chest rig. So they initially recommended the Lancer Tactical Patrol chest rig, which they said on the AI interface, it said it was only $35. But if you actually go to airsoftgi.com, it costs closer to about $70, $75, a lot more expensive. So I found this H chest rig from Lancer Tactical. It pretty much does the same job as the chest rig recommended by AI, but it does it at the $35 price point, which it specified. So there's that. The holster, they initially recommended that we go with some like fabric universal style holster, which turns out to be more expensive than this nice polymer SciTac hard shell holster, which again does the same job. It fits a ton of different pistol models, but for cheaper. So this is a nice, in my opinion, a nicer item for cheaper. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And finally, the BBs, because they recommended and they said for about $30, you can get 10,000 rounds of Elite Force biodegradable 0.25 gram BBs, but you can actually get 13,000 rounds for around $30 if you go with the Lancer Streamline BBs, which are really high quality. In fact, this is pretty much all I run on all my airsoft guns. So you can get way more bang for some less buck. So if you remember at the beginning of the video, we gave AI a $1,000 budget to put this loadout together. So how much money did AI actually spend on putting this loadout together? Well, doing all the math on all the individual items here, the grand total comes out to about $802. So you do have quite some room to spare for extra things like spare magazines, an optic, a speed loader, maybe even some tactical clothing. I thought it was really good that Google AI actually gave us a list of recommendations of other things that you might be interested in with the leftover room in your budget. So I thought it was really smart that they played pretty under budget to give you that extra room to pursue whatever else you wanted in the hobby. Thank you guys so much for sticking around and checking out our video to see if AI can actually give us a realistic airsoft loadout for players to use on the field. Now, if you're interested, you can always try this yourself on Google AI or ChatGPT or other AI models out there right now. And I'm pretty sure they'll give you some pretty similar responses. But if you want to talk to an actual player, an actual person, the human touch, we do have our live chat feature available on our website, available from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday to Friday, where you can actually talk to a real player who plays to recommend gear for your personal airsoft loadout. And also we have our Discord and our Instagram available as well, where you can chat it up with other airsoft players to recommend you good gear from player experience. So if you like what you saw, please make sure to give us a like, a thumbs up, and to subscribe if you haven't already, and to ring that bell icon to get notified of every time we upload a new video. And the best way to support the channel directly is to go to airsoftjr.com for all your airsoft needs, where you can create the airsoft loadout of your dreams and save lots of money, because we're always giving out crazy deals and sales every day. So make sure not to miss out. Other than that, my name is Boaz. We'll catch you next time, Mayo Gang.